Hello, vinyl community, and especially Fred and Chris, Young Coltrane 68. This is Gimme Ten Scandinavian records, but I only choose one other country than Sweden to show you. And the records is not necessarily rare or I just pull some stuff out. It's not tens at all. It's just like I just pull stuff out. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna start with one I haven't shown, and I don't know if this is in the selection because it's too many records then. But this is Text and Musik, Text och musik, Jaguaren, lyrics and music, something like that with the Jaguaren, the Jaguar. And this is like mid-70s prog record, killer music. The funny thing is I don't like the Swedish lyrics, so this is actually going to be a VCLT to someone that don't understand the Swedish lyrics and hopefully can stand them, but it's kind of cool lyrics. Music. Okay, so the first one is you showed Pug, Jag är det. Yes, it is. That record, and this is the follow-up to that, Puggish, made same year. I mean, killer record. This is almost as good as Jag är det, but and there we have the three of them, the gang there. But I think that you should try Pug's Hollywood out, because it's more it's not as proggy, more rocky, but it's more commercial in the sense that it's I think he had more money to do the production, so it's a cool record and it's very cheap. Okay, so I showed this before, but it needs to be shown again always. Pop Workshop Volume 1 with Jan Schaffer, we all know him. Stefan Brolund, I'll show another record with him. Ola Brunkert, who play with ABBA, you know the deal there too, but also killer session musician. Ed Tigpen, Amon Jar, and we have two Polish guys, Loret Gulgowski and Zbigniew Nemolkowski, something like that. It looks like this, and there we have them. This is a funky killer fusion record, really good. And I'm still looking for the second one, like a mother. I really need that record. Newer stuff, Anekdoten. This is very highly recommended for everyone who likes heavier prog in the same vein as Porcupine Tree or Opeth. The singer is not that good, but the music is just fantastic. A lot of Mellotron and you know the good stuff there. So if you like Opeth, want a little more with the cleaner voices like that Mickey does, Anekdoten is really good. This Gravity mid-period of their career. Record, Slim Borjud. I've shown all these before, but Slim Borjud, Funky Formula. He became a Formula 1 race contender and had a little bit of a career there, but Slim Borjud was made in Sweden, and I think he had something to do with Solar Plexus also. And the lineup here is just fantastic. Björn Jonsson Lind, Tommy Körberg from made in Sweden, Göran Lagerberg from Egba and Tages, and Jan Schaffer, Jojo Wadenius. I mean, this is the who's who of Swedish studio musicians that jazz, rock, folk back in the day. And I mean, there's a lot of vocals on here, and that's not my favorite thing, but the music is fantastic, and the drummer Slim is doing a great job at the drums. I'm not super sure, but maybe this was like the farewell record for him, like the only solo record he did, and I don't think he did much after that, but I'm not too sure. So this, you can find this pretty cheap, but it's a killer like fusion, like jazz rock, world jazz rock maybe, because there's a lot of percussion and it's a little bit slower than a typical jazz rock record, but nyspolat with Costa Petrea, who was in Samlaman's Manna, but the lineup here is killer also. You have Stefan Nilsson here, and Costa Petrea and Stefan Nilsson were in a band called the Glass Kapell, I think, who also from the same time period, really good. And we have Åke Eriksson here from Eggball, killer drummer. I talked to him before. Jojje Wadenius on bass. In this case, Mats Glenngård, Greg Fitzpatrick, really good. It's not a 10, absolutely not a 10, but it's a nice addition for a great price. I mean, you can find this for maybe $5, $6, $7, something like that. I mean, of all the records I've shown, taking the price of the record versus the music, this is probably the best record I'll show, because it's dirt cheap. You can find it in Sweden for a great, you know, just a couple of bucks, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, something like that. And it's just a monster of a record, and I shit you not, I mean, don't be fooled by this cover. Lasse Welander, he had a career after this. This is the first solo record, I think, by him, 1975. Electrocuted. I mean, the cover is just horrific. Such an ugly cover, and the backside is not better, but he's a fantastic guitarist, jazz rock guitarist, and listen to the lineup here. You have Ola Brunket and Tommy Borjud on drums, on some tracks, you know, and on bass you have Jojje Wadenius and 2 other guys. On keyboards you have Dave Greenslade from the Greenslade group, Wladimir Gulgovsky, who I talked about on Pop Workshop, and on guitar you actually have Claes of Geijerstam, who was a famous producer, and Lasse Welander obviously on guitar, so you didn't need anyone else. and on backup vocals, a bunch of guys, but there's Maritza Horn on here, and her daughter is actually a famous singer now in Sweden, really good singer. But yeah, there's a track on here. I mean, Fred, you have to check this album out. Just give it a try. I bet there's stuff on YouTube with this. But there's a song called Lingonskogen, the Lingonberry Forest. But all the first 3 tracks is very funky, very jazz rock driven, you know. But check that song out. This is, you find this easy. I actually have a copy of this, but I have another person in mind I'm gonna send it to as a VCLT. Okay, continuing with A Girl. All these are Swedish, by the way, up till now, and this is all Swedish. On Philips Records, this is Monica Törnell with Ulrich. Now this is not super good. I chose this just because of the cover. It's a killer cover and a pretty cool backside. This is her first debut record. This is the second one, 1972, maybe something like that. But there's maybe 2 tracks that is really good, and 1 track that is good. The rest is just so. But the first one, Öjebrud Marsch, is like a Swedish folk, traditional folk song that they did like a prog version of, with Björn Jason Lind and Stefan Brolund and Jan Schaffer and Ola Brunket. So the who's who again on this, the studio musicians, you know, they do killer stuff here. She reminds me of a blend of like Monica Zetterlund and maybe Eva Dahlgren, another Swedish, more modern 80s kind of a singer. So a blend between those 2, and she does a couple of a cappella songs on this that is pretty out there, pretty cool. Kind of a punky version of Monica Zetterlund, maybe. Again, I don't know if this qualifies as just, you know, exactly a Swedish record, but I guess so, because everyone else except Melvin Price or Price is from Sweden. I thought France, Argentine, USA, Sweden. So I guess not just only Swedish guys, but it was recorded in Sweden. This is rare ass record if you want an original of it. I bought this from Wax Poetics. It costs $3 on their homepage. I don't know, but I think it's still up there. It's a cheap reissue that sounds killer for the price. And you know, if you want a copy of this, I guess you have to go with the Wax Poetic version. This is fantastic. It's just mind-blowing. I mean, come on. And Fred and Chris, I know you know about this, but all you other guys, I mean, Ben, if you see this, try this out. I think it's dirt cheap, the reissue of this. Everyone who wants to get into that kind of percussion-based world, jazz, maybe jazz fusion, a little bit of fusion, but more jazz maybe, should check this out. Okay, 3 more to go. So 10, it was it 10? I want to show my copy of the Pekka Pohjola record that you showed. You have a much nicer copy than me. I want the original copy, but it's pretty pricey. Pretty pricey, but you know, the same music, except some tracks are rearranged, I think, for this, and of course it's commercialized as a Mike Oldfield record, Sally Oldfield. So Mike Oldfield, Sally Oldfield, and then Pekka Pohjola. But yeah. Vladimir Gulgovsky again from Pop Workshop, and you have Pierre Molien from Gong and Joey Wadenius. And you said it's a fantastic record. I'd like to have a copy on Love Records. I'll pick it up when I find it, you know, for a good price. But I've seen it for maybe 30 plus bucks when I've seen it. Okay, so the only record outside of Sweden I'm going to show you, I've shown it before, but it's highly recommended. It's not 10, but it's really cool, and you can get it for a great price. Dödens Triumph by Savage Rose. And I don't know if you got this as a BCLT, Fred, by someone. I don't know if I sent it to someone, but it's easy to get, and I think it's up there on Discogs if you want it for you know, great prices. But this is a Danish record, Savage Rose, Dödens Triumph, the Triumph of Death, and this is a soundtrack to a theater piece that someone did. I think theater or something in that style on Polydor Records. But this is an instrumental-ish kind of droney prog record. It sounds very evil, but it's killer. Listen to the first track, Dear Little Mother. I thought Byen Vågner sounds Norwegian. 6 minutes. It's really good. Try that out. I know that people talk with people on these more like record fairs about Savage Rose, and most of them said that it's an interesting artist because they started in 1968, and almost all the records are very diverse in the sound. They go from jazz to prog to like pop, very easy pop, and you know, stuff like that, and folk, acoustic folk, and not everything is good, but this is the most popular, I think, of the ones that, you know, they released, and I think this is really good. I don't think I'll hunt down Savage Rose records. Maybe I'll buy them if I find them cheap, but this is killer. Try this out. And the last one playing in the background is Finn by Finn Sjöberg, and I want to show this because, and I've shown it before, but Finn Sjöberg was the guitarist on the Kattvals record with Kvartetten som sprängde that you got, Fred, for you know, too much money. Yeah. And this is 1978. Very not like Kvartetten som sprängde at all. This is more, you know, going into that late 70s period with that kind of sound, almost like touching the 80s kind of sound that I don't like at all. But there's 2 tracks on here that is fantastic. Gånglåt from Barsting that we just heard, not this one, but the other one before this. That is, and the last one, I Fatimas Hand. On the second side, those 2 touches on what the thing that is good on the Kattvals record, that kind of folk prog thing, you know, that you want to hear. So yeah, Finn Sjöberg, and other people playing on here is the same old guys almost. Stefan Nilsson that I talked about on the Costa Patria record, record, Malano Gassama. But you also have on the last track that we heard just now, I Fatimas Hand, you have Okita Miss on drums, guest starring on one of the tracks. So that's it. That's my entry to this fantastic Gimme Ten's thread. Fred. And I don't know what you should do next. Maybe, the ECM sounded good. Maybe I can do something. I think I have 10 ECM records, so give it a try. We'll see. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.